Johnson here, and in this next video we're going to be talking about the genesis of the Golden Age. And so this video is really going to focus on, something very popular that many of us are aware of. December 21st, 2012. So many people felt that there was something happening on this day, that we were indeed crossing a threshold. There were some other people who were just thinking that this day was like any other. But what I've personally noticed through a lot of the people I've talked to through my sessions, just conversing with people on my Facebook, talking to people locally, is that they have felt a really immense transformation taking place in their life just after this date, just after December 21st, 2012, myself included, because this is what created the genesis of conscious matrix communication for me to get into that level. And that when I was channeling the entity known as Adronis, he was basically saying, a year or so prior, that the way that channeling would start through me would transform. Everything would transform after this date, and it did. So, this is really showing that what we're experiencing on the planet right now, even though people may still be going through certain trials and tribulations, and even though we're starting to see more of the collapse and deconstruction of all of those that represent an order or a conglomerate of superiority on an illusory level, is that we're starting to see more of this genesis. The genesis where we see the Golden Age effect. And I'm starting to see it all over the place. I've seen it through people, I've seen it through what they're putting on the news. I see it through some of the videos I see on YouTube that are getting very popular. In fact, there's one video that I'd like to share that's really about the genesis of the Golden Age. And it really has to do with how much of the population is starting to move into the understanding that healing itself is done through the self. But more so done through the self, in that sense, it's actually done more through the conglomerate as a whole. The collective self, the collective whole. And so this is a particular TEDx talk that I'd just like you guys to take a look at, as we're just going to show some clips here in regards to this TEDx talk. So I'm going to go ahead now and roll the footage.
Can the mind really heal the body? And if so, is there any scientific evidence to convince skeptical physicians like me? And what I discovered is that the scientific community, the medical establishment, has been proving for over 50 years that the mind can heal the body. You think there's such a thing as an incurable illness? I swear, if you go look at this database, it'll blow your mind. Everything's in there. Stage 4 cancers that disappeared without treatment. HIV-positive patients that became HIV negative. Heart disease, kidney failure, diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid disease, autoimmune diseases, gone. So Mr. Wright, when he got that distilled water and his tumors melted away, that's a great example of the placebo effect, when you get a seemingly inert treatment, and yet something's happening physiologically in the body such that disease goes away. So the scientific literature, the medical journals like the New England Journal of Medicine and the Journal of the American Medical Association, these scientific journals are full of evidence that the placebo effect and the nocebo effect are incredibly powerful. We've known this since the 1950s, and we've seen countless case studies that show that in almost everything you study, if you give people a fake treatment, a sugar pill, a saline injection, or most effectively a fake surgery, 18 to 80% of the time, people get better. So this is really happening in the body. And the question that I had is it just the mind's positive belief that's making this happen? Not according to Harvard researcher Ted Kapchick. According to him, he thinks that the most essential part is actually the nurturing care of a healthcare provider, more so even than the mind's positive belief. That some of the studies actually say the doctor is the placebo, or can be. So Ted Kapchick wanted to study this, and he did a great study looking at patients that were getting placebos for an illness, for treatment of an illness, and he told them, you're getting a placebo. There's nothing in here, inert ingredients, nothing active. They still got better. So what patients need from us as healthcare providers, they need us to be forces of healing, not forces of fear or pessimism.
All right, so as we saw in that particular video, we're getting the understanding now on a large collective level. Many of the pioneers that started talking about this decades past. You have people like Bruce Lipton and all these other people that have really started to pioneer a lot of this, and I believe for a very long time they were laughed at, feeling that, what are you talking about? The body is going to naturally heal itself. You can't be serious. You need to have the medical profession in here. You need to have your drugs. You need to have your surgeries, etc. But now we're starting to understand that people, just like what you saw in that TEDx talk, that former doctors who were really committed to the medical practice started to lose faith in that whole idea of the medical practice. And now they're moving more into the understanding that by doing research, they understand that the human being is capable of healing themselves. And that's really how it is, that the body itself is it's a magnificent instrument. It's a wonderful organic terminal, because we have so much potential within this body that we can't even begin to realize, that medical science has really just started to scratch the surface on the capabilities of what the body is going through. It is an intelligent organism, and it is capable of transforming itself, of healing itself, and that it's all directed in regards to the mentality of ourselves, of how we bring ourselves together. And what is really beneficial, I should say, is through the healing is done the most strongest when others facilitate care to that other. This is something that's just truly magnificent. This is why there are healers out there. This is exactly why I do body regeneration healing. Because not only am I looking on a holographic level at particular discrepancies that are within the body, but I'm literally facilitating that care, that I'm sending my love, and I'm showing my appreciation, my gratitude to this individual to really show that love, so that all of those particular discrepancies can be healed through that care. Because what's really creating the trigger effect, what's really creating this genesis of an expansive healing effect, is the care that a person receives. And this is why sometimes that if a person, may be hurting, or if there's something in them that, they're just not feeling really good, it could be a nauseating feeling, they try to do their own self-healing, and it feels that it's not as effective. But when they go and they do their own healing to another person, that person feels like $1 million. Oh my goodness, what did you do to me? It's absolutely amazing. The genesis of that explosive healing effect was care, was through love, was through appreciation. And that's what truly matters. That's what counts here. And this is what's bringing ourselves into the genesis of a golden age, is that we're all starting to recognize the relationship we have on a unified level with each other. That any time that you have all these cells, here, if just, 1 or 2 of those cells are uncooperative, the system in regards to healing cannot function at peak performance. You have these particular cells that are just wanting to cancel themselves out and not able to do what they naturally do, which is to heal, which is to maintain the body. So when that is causing a discrepancy, this is where discrepancy comes forward. When we look at ourselves as a collective consciousness, when we see 7 billion of ourselves on this planet, and we're all working together, you cannot imagine the power that that has of transforming the entire planet. If everybody got together, all 7 billion of us got together, and just shared a simultaneous thought in regards to healing, love, appreciation, gratitude, there's no words that could express how wonderful the world would transform. Because this is us moving into that apex. We're beginning to move into that level, above entering a genesis of a golden age. And then again, this has been building up for quite some time, but I felt that a lot of the spike came from 12 2112. And that was around the time where I really felt this immense spike. And now things just have kind of been going like that. Now some people may say, well, you know, Brad, there's still a lot of deterioration in the world. There's still, you know, wars being fought. And there's still governmental influence and all that. Well, yes, there is. But the whole idea is that as there's governmental influence, as there may be war, etc., more people are becoming aware of what's really going on. It's that it's a transitional phase. It's not that overnight everything that we would consider to be disharmonious to ourselves is going to evacuate. You have to understand that the collective response in regards to the unity of how the government has been behaving, how war has been happening, poverty, etc., is very similar to what we're all going through our own dark nights of the soul. That we had to go through a very large tipping point, a really large downfall, pardon me, till we hit rock bottom. And then when we hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. And this is where change comes into play. And now we're skyrocketing. Because we hit here, we plummeted, we sank down to the lowest point that we can imagine. Because we were getting too hard on ourselves. We did not have that worthiness. We were not worthy. We didn't feel, valuable. We had problems in regards to people who were around us. We felt that the world was our enemy. And everything else, finances weren't good, losing a house, losing a relationship, whatever it may be. And when you come here, there's no lower point. This is rock bottom. And the only thing that's after rock bottom is your own realization of saying, well, I've plummeted down this far. Maybe I can start to venture up now. Maybe because I've seen all this, everything has collapsed under its own weight because I've been straining so hard to keep this up. I can no longer do that, and then I collapse under my own weight. And now I feel like something has happened. I feel like something else is communicating with me. I feel that I'm ready to take the climb again, and I feel like a whole new person. And this is where we start to shoot ourselves up again. This is exactly what's happening on a collective level. That the world itself, for quite some time, has been down here, hitting rock bottom in regards to everything that is unnatural to what represents love. And now, it's starting to come up. It's reached a critical mass border where the genesis of the golden age is now starting to happen. What do I mean by the golden age? It's about unification. It's about moving itself together to where everybody is sharing in love, appreciation, gratitude to help each other out, to working together to be those caretakers of the planet, so that the earth is working alongside with us. She always has been, and now it's our turn. That now we're going to start working along with earth. And now we're understanding about the healing effect through each of us. That not only are we able to heal ourselves, but through the facilitation and the care and the love and the appreciation of others that want to help, that want to facilitate that health, just expands that 100-fold. And that's what's so great about the ability of health healing facilitation, is that you really have that care because there's a nexus coming together regarding to people who want to be of assistance. It feels so good when a person who you just met really comes up to you and just reaches their hand out and saying, here, let me help you up. How wonderful of you to do such a thing. I don't know you, I've never met you before, but you're coming to my aid and you're helping me up. Why would you do that? Because it's human to do that. Because we are designed to be that of unconditional love. That's who we are. That's our design. Anything that represents war, chaos, catastrophe is an antithesis to ourselves. It's completely, polar opposite to what we naturally are. We're not that which represents a destructive race. We never have been. It's all been part of a broadcast, all been part of a program that a very select few have been broadcasting for such a long time to create their own enforcement, to make them feel like the gods, where everybody else below them are just the peasants. And now that has transformed, because now we're seeing the deterioration, and we're seeing the slow crumbling of those particular systems that represent disharmony, that represent the polarization of chaos and corruption, those are now falling apart. You know, they're still around, but they are going to begin to crumble more and more each and every day. And there's eventually going to be a point where there's nothing left of those systems but rubble. And that's basically what's happening. It's like we're seeing a very slow frame-by-frame effect of just watching this foundation crumble apart and just completely disintegrate itself until there's nothing left but rubble. And so we're moving into the genesis of a golden age. We're moving into the whole ability of understanding that we are able to heal each other. That it's not about spending thousands and thousands of dollars on surgeries, or, you know, for those areas on the planet that don't have good health care, you know, to try and purchase a bunch of pills to swallow that have all of these drastic side effects. That what you saw in the video is one particular doctor just having a little injection here of distilled water to make it sound like it was some, you know, incredible new product that we'd use. And this is going to be, you know, the best thing. This is going to be thumbs up. This is what's going to get you going. And all it was distilled water. It was the person's mentality of how they pictured that really felt their health getting up. Oh my goodness, this is great. It doesn't have to be anything. It's that the care itself spoke. Behind this was this. That's the whole idea. This is what heals. This is what will always heal. It's never about pill popping. It's never about expensive surgeries, what have you. It's not about this. It's always been about this. So when you really start to move into your heart space, you start to realize what you're capable of doing on your own level to help heal yourself. You know, eating right, having, you know, a good diet, performing energy healing upon yourself. If you feel you have a headache, you know, you're just basically going into a grounding state, and you're able to feel the universe. You feel the matrix around you, and the matrix is helping to repair. Your body is being guided through the matrix to assist in repairing that headache. If you feel that there are some more severe cases, you talk to someone else, a facilitator, who can really help you out, who wants to give you that care, who wants to give you that love, and facilitate that energy to you. And then you start feeling wonderful because another person cares. There's this care I'm giving, there's this love I'm getting, there's this wonderful divine energy that's flowing through me, and that's the true healing. And anything can be cured. As you saw in the previous clip, that there are databases of everything that may have thought to be incurable that are curable, that were cured without any particular treatment whatsoever. That's the understanding, because this is what did it. Not this, even if it was filled with some nasty drug. That's not the point. It's never about this. It's always about this. So when you start to open up your heart and you start to feel the unification of everybody else that's around you, regardless of their frequency, regardless of how they're vibrating, whether they feel that they're troublemakers or whether they're feeling that they're down on themselves, regardless, their spirit, their soul, their life force, their energy, just as we all are. And that through interconnectedness, when there is despair, when there is tragedy, everybody reacts to helping one another out, because that's the human nature. The human nature is to be of assistance, to be of service, and to share in that love, that appreciation, and that gratitude. And this is where we're moving further and further upwards into this genesis of the Golden Age. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions relating to this video or any other videos that you see on this channel, by all means feel free to contact me. info@consciousmatrix.com. I'm Brad Johnson. Thank you very much for watching. Looking forward to speaking to you again soon. Namaste, and may it be well with you.